The skies above Earth changed without warning. First, people thought it was just another strange weather event. But when the clouds twisted into glowing spirals and the air itself shimmered like glass, the world stopped to look up. Then came the sound, a deep, vibrating hum that shook buildings and hearts alike. High above the Atlantic Ocean, a golden tear opened in the sky. From it, a ship emerged, unlike anything Earth had ever seen. It was massive, smooth like liquid metal, and surrounded by rings of light. It did not need words. Its presence screamed power. In seconds, every major satellite around Earth was jammed. Communication lines went quiet. Military radars blinked and froze. And then, as if to prove it could, the ship beamed its voice into every screen, every radio, every phone. The message was cold, emotionless, and terrifying. Earth is summoned by order of the Galactic Council. Your world will present itself at the central core for diplomacy and classification. You are required. Resistance is unnecessary. Panic spread fast. In New York, London, Beijing, people rushed into streets, unsure whether this was a threat or something worse. World leaders met in underground bunkers. Some called for war, others pleaded for peace. But all of them knew one thing. Earth had just been noticed by something far bigger. President Lena Cole stood in silence as the message repeated. She was calm, too calm, as if this moment had been expected. She turned to her chief of defense and spoke only 2 words. "It's time." The man's face turned pale. "Ma'am, are you sure?" She nodded. "Activate the Leviathan protocol." Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, hidden behind false doors and fake systems, a black hangar opened. Inside it rested something no one outside Earth's highest level had seen before. A ship. No, a weapon. Massive, ancient-looking, but pulsing with quiet life. It had been sleeping for decades, powered by secrets found not on Earth but on Mars. Meanwhile, the golden alien ship hovered silently over the Atlantic. From its side, a beam of blue light stretched out and formed a doorway. Figures walked out tall, thin beings with shimmering skin and glowing eyes. They smiled in a way that felt wrong. The lead alien, wearing robes made of living threads, stepped forward and spoke again. This time with a voice that sounded human but too perfect. "You have been observed. Judged. The Council finds you curious, yet primitive. You have fire, but no control, emotion, but no wisdom. Come now, accept your place before decisions are made for you." Human ambassadors gathered quickly. Dr. Mark Yilmaz, Earth's chosen diplomat, stepped forward. He was calm, careful with his words. "We appreciate your visit, mate. But Earth is not ready to answer such a sudden call. We ask for time." The alien's smile widened. "Time. Time is a luxury for species who matter. You have 2 solar cycles. Refuse, and you will face ... disappointment. ... disappointment." Alina stared at the alien broadcast. Her mind was sharp, filled with old files. She remembered the first signals, received from deep space years ago, messages that weren't just random, but coded. Humanity had cracked them quietly and discovered something horrifying. The Council had judged other planets before, and most had vanished. The Leviathan was not just Earth's defense. It was Earth's secret answer to a war that hadn't even started yet. It was built using alien tech found in a wreck buried beneath the Martian South Pole. The original ship had crashed long ago, forgotten by the galaxy, but not by humans. That night, as the alien ship remained above the ocean, watching silently, something stirred in orbit. Hidden in the shadows of the moon, a small, cloaked drone drifted into position. It sent back one signal to Earth. "Target lock confirmed. Leviathan path cleared." Double quotes. Dr. Yilmaz returned to the UN meeting hall. The room was tense. Cameras were off. No one knew what the right move was. Should Earth obey, submit, or pretend? To play along, he looked up at the screen showing the alien ship and made a quiet promise. "They think we're weak, he whispered to himself. They came to laugh. They'll leave in silence. At the edge of the solar system, far beyond Pluto, something answered a signal that had been dormant for years. Spark of blue light. Ignited inside a chamber filled with weapons that defied science. Systems came online. The Leviathan was waking up, and the galaxy had no idea. The Earth delegation ship left orbit 2 days later. It was small and sleek, built for speed, not battle. Painted white with the Earth Union symbol on its wings, it carried diplomats, translators, a few scientists, and one quiet figure who spoke to no one. Dr. Mark Yilmaz stood near the observation window, watching the stars blur as the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. His eyes didn't blink. He wasn't afraid. He was listening. Waiting behind them, the ESS Leviathan was already on the move. Hidden behind the dark side of Jupiter, it activated its silent engines. It didn't light up. It didn't flash. Just vanished from all known sensors. Not even the Earth delegation ship knew it was following. After 5 days of travel, the Earth ship arrived in Council space. What they saw first was not stars, but cities in the sky. Floating worlds. Megastructures bigger than entire continents. The central core, the heart of the Galactic Council, was a planet-sized station with rings, smaller habitats spinning around it like moons. Alien ships zipped through organized lanes, escorted by machines that looked like living statues. 2. Earth's team, it felt like entering the future, or stepping into a dream. But the welcome was cold, as Earth's ship entered the spaceport zone. They were immediately pushed to the side by larger vessels. A sharp voice snapped through the comms. Hold position. You will wait until important. Arrivals have passed. Dr. Yilmaz said nothing. He only observed. Every alien ship looked more advanced than anything Earth had. But he wasn't looking at their size. He was watching their movements, their patterns, most of all the gaps. The Earth delegation was led through polished halls, guarded by strange creatures with crystal armor. No smiles, no warmth. Council members from dozens of alien species stood in tall chairs, their glowing eyes judging silently. The lead speaker, a being known as Vertil of the Zurithi, raised his hand. Representatives of Earth, you arrive in our center, not as equals, but as observed anomalies. Your development is surprising. Your growth rate, unnatural. You will explain this. Dr. Yilmaz bowed slightly. Earth has only grown by surviving, he replied softly. We faced wars, disasters, and even extinction. We adapt. That is our strength. Laughter broke across the chamber. Not kind, laughter mocking, sharp, cruel. Adaptation. Another alien scoffed. You still burn fuel. You still argue among nations. You still believe emotion is power. We believe emotion is purpose, Mark said calmly. Without it, you have only machines. Another voice hissed. If Earth cannot provide value to the Council, you will be restricted to your system. Travel denied. Technology limited. Protection. Withdrawn, Mark remained quiet for a long second. Then he simply said, I understand. The Council saw that as weakness. Some leaned in to whisper. Others smirked. Vertil waved a glowing hand. You will receive the Council's final judgment in 1 solar cycle. Until then, you may observe. But your path will be decided for you. Back on Earth, President Elena Cole was watching everything through a secure relay. Though delayed by minutes, the message was clear. Earth was being tested and insulted. She showed no fear. She walked into the war room where a team of hidden specialists worked behind encrypted firewalls. Where's the Leviathan? She asked. A young officer tapped the screen, still in deep cloak. No detection. But it's close, ma'am. Estimated to arrive outside Central Core Space in 20 hours. Alina gave a slow nod. Good. Let them laugh. They'll stop soon. At that same moment, in the cold edges of Council space, a signal bounced off a hidden relay behind a dead asteroid. It carried no name, no ID, just 2 words in Earth code. Stand by, Leviathan. Aboard the Earth delegation ship, one of the guards, a woman named Commander Lynch, cacked her wrist device. The signal came through clean. She didn't react. She simply looked toward the stars and whispered, "We're not alone." Mark stood in his temporary quarters, looking at the council city outside. The towers were tall. The lights were beautiful. But underneath it all, he saw the same patterns he had studied in old Earth empires: pride, greed, fear. The council wasn't strong because it was united. It was strong because no one had ever challenged it. And maybe that was about to change. Far beyond the station, in the shadows of a black dwarf star, a giant shape waited. It didn't hum. It didn't shine. It was death, wrapped in silence. Earth's hidden answer drifted closer to the council's heart. No one knew it was there, but soon everyone would. Inside the council chamber, the mood was almost playful. Alien leaders leaned back in their thrones of light, their mouths curled in strange smiles. They thought Earth was done. They thought humans would beg, bend, or vanish quietly. Some even joked, betting how long Earth would last before collapsing under council pressure. But one figure wasn't smiling: Dr. Mark Yilmaz. He stood in the center of the wide, glowing floor, surrounded by thousands of eyes. The judgment had begun. A new voice, sharp and cold, echoed through the hall. Earth shows potential, but lacks control. They are emotional, disorganized, dangerous. The speaker, a being of stone and fire called Quaros, turned to Mark. "You have no council-approved allies. Your weapon tech is 30 cycles behind. You have no fleets, no rights to speak as equals." Mark gave a slow nod. "You're right. We came with no weapons, no armies. We came in peace." Laughter broke across the room, loud and echoing. Watching a council judge slammed a rod of power. "Then why should we allow you to rise at all? What makes Earth so special?" Mark looked up, his eyes steady. His voice was soft, but it carried through the entire chamber. "Because we learn faster than you think." At that moment, every light in the chamber blinked. The walls shook. A tremor rippled across the giant station. Alien guards raised weapons. Council members rose from their seats. Alarms flared, first one, then many across multiple levels of the station. A voice came through the chamber speakers. It was deep, artificial, and calm. But it did not belong to the council. SS Leviathan present. Every alien froze. Vertil, the lead counselor, shouted, "Where is that signal coming from? Who authorized that broadcast?" A screen on the wall flickered to life. There it was. Behind the glass dome of the council core, visible with the naked eye, now a shadow darker than space itself, shape so large it blocked out stars. The station's orbital defense system tried to scan it, but the scanners returned only static. The Leviathan derived. No sound, no glow. Just a black, angular monster floating beyond the ringed habitats. Dozens of warships from other species rushed forward, forming a loose wall between the core and the unknown ship, their weapons locked. Their engines roared. The Leviathan didn't move then. In 1 second, all council warships went dark. Engines failed, shields dropped, weapons disarmed. No explosions, no violence, just complete silence. As if the Leviathan had whispered ... and the universe obeyed. Inside the chamber, panic spread. "What is that thing?" someone shouted. "How did they build that?" Mark stood calmly. "We didn't build it overnight. We built it when you weren't looking. While you laughed. We prepared." Council members tried to regain control. Quaros barked orders. Return fire. Jam their systems. A technician screamed, "Our systems are not responding." On the screen, the Leviathan opened a single hatch. From it, a beam of soft blue light reached out. Not a weapon, but a transmission. It played old footage. Humans fighting through burned cities. Earth soldiers helping each other up in bloodied streets. Scientists building star drives out of scrap. A girl crying under the ruins of a war, and standing up and walking forward. Then came scenes of space battles Earth's early ships destroyed. Again and again, but each time returning stronger, faster, smarter, at the end of the transmission. One sentence appeared on the screen in every alien language. "We don't seek war, but we don't fear it either." The room went silent. Vertil sat down slowly, his pride cracking. How long have you had this? Mark looked at him without blinking. Long enough. Another counselor asked, why bring it now? Not fire? Why not take revenge? Mark's voice turned cold. Because Earth doesn't destroy for pride. We only fight when we're forced to. You summoned us to kneel. Instead, we stood. Far above, the Leviathan remained still. It didn't need to move. Its presence was louder than any weapon. Inside their war rooms, dozens of alien civilizations now whispered the same thought. Earth was not a child race. They were not primitive. They were a storm that had been waiting for a reason, and now the galaxy had given them one. The council members looked at each other, unsure what to do next. Attack and risk complete destruction. Submit and lose their power. Mark turned his back to them and began walking out of the chamber. Where are you going? Vertil called after him. He paused at the door. To let you decide what kind of galaxy you want, he said. One where you rule through fear, or one where Earth stands beside you, but never beneath you. And with that, the door closed. Behind him, above the Leviathan, powered down its weapons, but it didn't leave. The council chamber was no longer loud. No one laughed now. No one smirked. The leaders of dozens of powerful alien empires sat frozen in silence. Some stared at the black screen where the Leviathan's image had just faded. Others whispered quietly, unsure if this was real or some kind of threat they didn't yet understand. The Earth delegation had left the chamber. But Earth had not left the council's mind. Security around the station doubled. Every warship in the system was put on high alert. But deep down, they all knew. It wouldn't matter. The Leviathan had disabled their best fleet in less than a minute without firing a single shot. What kind of power was that? What kind of species built something so big and kept it hidden? Inside a private chamber, the top council members met in secret. Vertil sat at the head of the room, eyes dim and tired. He had ruled through fear and control for over 100 years. But now, he felt like a child looking up at a god. Quaros, the stone-skinned general, slammed his hand on the table. We must strike now, while we still can. With what? Another counselor snapped. They disabled our fleet like turning off a light. You want to throw rocks at a storm? Vertil raised a hand. Enough. The room fell silent. This is not just a warship, he said. It's a message. Earth showed us that they have power, but also restraint. Restraint. Quaros growled. They embarrassed us in front of the galaxy. And they could have destroyed us, Vertil said slowly, but didn't. Across the galaxy, messages spread fast. News networks, both alien and human, played the footage of the Leviathan's arrival again and again. On distant colonies, small alien species who had once feared the Council now whispered a new name with hope: humans. Inside the Leviathan itself, Captain Sarah Grant stood on the command deck. The room was dark, quiet, full of low hums and blinking lights. The ship didn't feel like a machine, it felt like something alive, something watching. A young officer approached. Ma'am, we are receiving encrypted messages from Earth. The President wants to know if the Council will respond with force. Captain. Grant didn't look away from the main screen, where the Council station floated like a candle beside a dragon. They won't, she said. They're too scared. And if they try, she turned. Then they'll learn what Leviathan was. Really built for... At that same moment, back in the Council chamber, a decision was being made. Slowly, painfully, Vertil stood once again and opened a new communication. Channeled to Earth. A hologram appeared in front of him, showing President Alina Cole sitting at her desk. She didn't smile. She didn't move. She simply waited. You surprised us? Vertil said quietly. You hid your strength well. That was the point, Alina replied. We wanted peace, not attention. But when you forced us into the spotlight, we had no choice. Vertil looked tired. What is it that Earth wants now? Lena's voice was clear. Equality, not control. We don't want to rule. We just want to speak and be heard. Like any other council race, and if we refuse, he asked, then Leviathan stays, she answered. And so do we. Virgil took a long breath. He looked around the room. No one disagreed. Even Quaros had fallen quiet. Very well, he said. Earth will be granted an observer seat at the council. For now. President Cole gave a small nod. That's a start. When the call ended, she turned to her advisors. They'll test us again, she said. But next time, we won't need Leviathan to answer. They'll already know. High above the council station, the Leviathan turned slowly in space. Its engines hummed once, then dimmed. Its systems returned to sleep mode. Quiet. It sent one final signal across all council channels. Earth stands free, remember that. Ships in nearby sectors picked up the message. So did distant colonies and hidden worlds. In dark corners of the galaxy, small species watched the signal in awe. In royal courts of powerful empires, leaders watched in fear, because now they all knew humanity had risen, not by asking, not by begging, but by arriving with silence, power, and the promise of war without mercy if pushed. And somewhere deep in the stars, Leviathan waited again. The council had agreed, but their fear hadn't gone away. Behind closed doors, old voices whispered of revenge.
How?
Some races spoke of secret weapons. Others suggested waiting for Earth to make a mistake, but no one dared to attack. Not yet. Not. With the Leviathan still watching from the shadows, for the first time in history, the council wasn't in full control. Earth's flag now stood inside the council hall. Small, simple, and placed near the back butt. It was there. Dr. Mark Yilmaz returned, walking through the shining halls with quiet strength. The same aliens who had once laughed at him now stepped aside. Mark stood in front of the council chamber again, just as he had before. This time, no one interrupted him. No one mocked him. We came here because we were summoned, he said. You believed Earth was weak, a joke, a problem to be managed. He looked around the room slowly, pausing on every face. But we're still here. And now you understand why. Quaros, the stone-skinned general, leaned forward. You showed strength. Fine, but strength without control is chaos. Mark nodded. True. And you've ruled this galaxy with strength for centuries. It peace or silence? The question floated in the air like smoke. Then the doors opened. President Delina Cole stepped in, something no Earth leader had ever done. She was not expected. She wasn't invited. But she came anyway, walking calmly. Flanked by 2 human guards in black armor, council guards stepped forward, unsure what to do, but Virgil, still seated at the head of the chamber, raised a hand. Let her speak. Lena looked around. Earth was never looking for war. But when war comes to our door, we don't run, we don't kneel, we stand. She took a slow step forward. You threatened us, you insulted us, you laughed, and still we didn't fire. Brought Leviathan not to destroy but to show that we could. She looked directly at Quaros. If we had wanted this chamber gone, it would be ashes. But we want something else, something rare in this galaxy. Virtal narrowed his eyes. And what is that? Lena smiled just slightly. Balance. Whispers moved through the council. Elena raised her voice. Earth will not rule you. But Earth will not serve you. Stand on equal ground or not. At all, that was the moment everything changed. Not with a weapon, not with a battle, but with words backed by power and restraint. Later that day, agreement was signed. Earth was granted full council status. Not as a servant world, but as an equal voice. The Leviathan stayed in orbit a little longer, then drifted silently away. Where it went, no one knew. Some said it returned to Earth's hidden bases. Others believed it stayed close, watching, but no one ever saw it again. And yet, the galaxy remembered. On distant worlds, alien children now played games where humans were heroes, not enemies. On war-torn planets, once ruled by council fear, rebels whispered Earth's name with hope, and in the halls of power. Even the most ancient species began to speak with more care, because now there was a new kind of power in the stars, a power that had come quietly, that had answered arrogance with silence, had changed everything without firing a single shot. At the edge of the Milky Way, deep in a quiet system no one dared to scan, the Leviathan rested once again. Its lights were dim, its engines were still, but inside, its systems were awake, watching, listening, waiting, because Earth knew something the Council still didn't fully understand. Peace never lasts, and next time might not be a warning. This time, they came for diplomacy. Next time, Earth might come for war, and no one would laugh.